everybody, just making a video here explaining why I believe voting UKIP is still a terrible idea, what with it being the election tomorrow and all. Now, the thrust of UKIP's Euroscepticism argument at the moment seems to come from this claim by Nigel Farage that 75% of UK law is currently made in Brussels. The thing is, it isn't. This comes from a quote by Hans-Gert Pottering, where he mentions that the European Parliament are responsible for 75% of laws in the EU. However, it's important to understand the context of this. And what he's actually saying here is that the European Parliament legislates on 75% of laws passed by the European Union. That is, the Parliament has a say in 75% of the legislation that the Union as an institution in itself was making, not 75% of laws being made by each member state. So basically, an individual member state does not have 75% of its laws dictated by the EU, rather 75% of laws passed by the EU come from the European Parliament. And looking here, I'm just looking at some of the notes I've made from straightstatistics.org. Yes, estimates vary on the true percentage of UK laws that come from the EU. But here we've got, in May 2009, a report by the British Chamber of Commerce found that the EU accounted for only around 20% of regulatory legislation in Britain in 2008 to 2009. So that's considerably less than 75%. And also, what it says here is EU input on UK regulatory law seems to actually be falling, because the EU accounted for 30% of legislation in 2007-2008. So it seems to actually be falling. It is actually obviously difficult to get an exact statistic on any of this stuff, but nonetheless 75% is really not an accurate figure. This really is down to a sort of misquoting of someone here, which is not good. The other thing I wanted to just address here was other policies UKIP have that don't really directly relate to Euroscepticism. I'll just refer to a few notes here. They're sexist, for a start. They don't support equal pay for equal labour. They don't think women should be paid the same as men. Nigel Farage is on record as having said that working mothers are worth less than men. They want to put an end to paid maternity leave. Godfrey Bloom is on record as having said no self-respecting small businessman with a brain in the right place would ever employ a lady of childbearing age. He's also a victim shamer when it comes to victims of rape. They're homophobic, they oppose gay marriage. Roger Helmer is on record as saying homosexual behaviour is abnormal and undesirable. Richard Lowe, who is actually the local, or was the local UKIP candidate to me a year or two back, he was made to resign from UKIP after openly expressing support for gay marriage. Winston McKenzie is on record as having said, "To say a child, I am having you adopted by two men who kiss regularly but don't worry about it, that is abuse. It is a violation of a child's human rights," which is odd because UKIP don't support human rights, but okay, let's carry on. "Because that child has no opportunity to grow up under normal circumstances. A caring, loving home is a heterosexual or single family. I don't believe a gay couple is healthy for a child. There are people out there who bring up their kids encouraging them to believe they are gay themselves." So that's just weird, isn't it? It goes without saying that they're racist. Some notable points for me. Chris Payne once posted on Facebook, "Have you noticed that if you rearrange the letters in illegal immigrants and add just a few more letters, it spells go home you freeloading, benefit grabbing, resource sucking, baby making, non-English speaking," expletive is deleted here, "and take those other hairy faced, sandal wearing, bomb making, camel riding, goat fucking, raghead," expletive deleted, "with you." Godfrey Bloom also once shouted "Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer" at a German politician. That was in the EU Parliament. Obviously there's countless many other examples of racism, but those are just two that really stick out for me as being particularly shocking. UKIP are ableist. They believe abortion should be compulsory for fetuses detected as having Down syndrome or anything similar, as they believe such people to be a burden on the state. This notably to me seems to conflict with Christopher Monckton, because he made the assertion a while ago that stem cell research is tantamount to killing children. So this is very, very odd sort of clash of ideas there. They oppose universal healthcare. A good example of that would be they wish to ban IVF treatment on the NHS. They're scientifically illiterate. And this goes down to that they believe wind farms are slowing the rotation of the planet. They deny anthropocentric climate change. Moncton, as I mentioned before, has described the intent behind the UN climate treaty as to impose a communist world government. They support fracking. They believe in biological determinism, which this ties into their racism, sexism, homophobia, etc. They are anti-secular. They oppose separation of church and state and believe the monarch should be the defender of the faith. Their opposition to gay marriage is also religiously informed. It comes from their religious beliefs. Interestingly, while Farage opposes Islamic immigration, he actually proposed asylum for Christian refugees only during the Syrian crisis. So he's willing to make a almost about-turn view of his views on immigration when it comes to Christians. He very much thinks an exception should be made for Christians over Muslims. Now, we could go on for ages going on about all the problems with UKIP. These are a few that I remember, a few that have cropped up while I've done a bit of searching. Another point to remember is that they are generally just fucking lazy, and they rarely bother to show up to Parliament. Ever. So even if they had anything relevant to say or anything of use to contribute, they're too fucking lazy to actually show up for Parliament. So even if you do support their policies, I don't know why you'd want to vote for a party that doesn't even bother showing up. So, needless to say, I will not be voting UKIP tomorrow. There is something more than a bit embarrassing about seeing all these vote UKIP signs up all over the city. Although I saw the saddest thing ever the other day. I was just walking into town and I saw "Vote UKIP" written in chalk on the pavement. I thought, well, the advertising budget really must be dried up if this is how UKIP are now advertising themselves. So yeah, obviously there are a number of different good arguments to make for different parties in the coming election, but for me UKIP is an absolute open and shut case. It's a ridiculous collection of bigots and idiots ever to actually gain this in the modern day, gain this much level of support, which is rather embarrassing. I feel kind of embarrassed for anyone who's supporting this party, especially people putting signs up outside their house saying they're doing so. So let me know what you think, everybody. Goodbye.